Hey guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back. I'm not going anywhere. Boost! I'm YouTube. As if. I'm YouTube. I'm not an instant influencer. I'm YouTube. Famous now. Available in 2020. The album, Dad F. Rock on, Gold Dust Woman. How are you guys doing on this fine Friday? I am so excited. Today in Indianapolis, Indiana, which is where I live in the great Midwest. And hey out there to all you Hoosiers. That's what we call people from Indiana, Hoosiers. You don't ask the question, who's your daddy? But anyway, I went and I got Starbucks for the first time today in 60 days. I was like, the heavens have lifted. So I was very, very excited. And then I came home and our neighbors got a new puppy and I got to see the puppy outside and everything like that. We were like keeping our distance and she like started to step closer to get the puppy and then I was like leaning back and it was real funny. But anyway, they got a new puppy and I was so excited for them because, you know, who doesn't love puppies? If you don't, like I said this about trees, okay? If you don't like trees, who are you? If you didn't watch that video, go back and it's the one where I was on the patio. If you don't like puppies, who are you? Anyway, I don't like cats. I guess if you don't like cats, who are you? If you don't like cats, you're somebody that is a conspiracy theorist, which is what I am. Do you know that I have a true crime book club? If you didn't, it's called the True Crime Book Club, period. Anyway, with my good Jenny Mel. But if you don't like cats, it's because you know that cats are aliens and they're basically coming here to take over the world. So anyway, I just lost 5 subscribers. Every time I talk about cats, people, they get real upset. They're like, oh my God, you don't like cats. I have to unsubscribe. Anyway, let me sip my coffee. I cannot believe I finally got a coffee from Starbucks. Anyway. I mean, I could have been getting it all this whole time, but I've been trying to do the right thing and not go out and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, as you know, I'm talking about that. I do want to say this on this channel. I say it every night on my vlog. Every night on my vlog, I say, let's just leave a bunch of, you know, colorful emojis for all of the essential workers out there and all of the frontline workers out there. And I want to say, you know, like, as things start to reopen a little bit, and, you know, who knows what's going to happen going forward, thank you to all of you out there, all of the essential workers, all of the frontline workers, all of the medical workers out there, all of your friends and family. I really, really appreciate you guys helping us get through this very, very difficult time. So I want to say a little thank you to you. I would dedicate this video to, well, I can dedicate this video to you, but this video is about instant influencer, and I don't know, quite frankly, if you care. So anyway, the other thing I want to say is I want to give a very happy birthday. Happy birthday. There's like 20 people out there that probably watch my channel, and they're like, it's my birthday, is he going to say me? I would, but today is my good Judy Melissa's birthday, so I want to sing a very happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Melissa, poor Melissa, sweet Melissa, okay? She is supposed to be in Las Vegas right now, as am I and my husband, and she was going to see Lady Gaga for her birthday, so... But she's not. She's at home, and we're going to do a little drive-by birthday party here in a little bit. This won't ruin the surprise for her because by the time that we do the drive-by birthday party, this video will just be getting up. So anyway, happy birthday to you, Melissa. 20 never looked better. All right, let's get into this video. So I have received... over the last 4 weeks, I think it was, since this, the Instant Influencer by James Charles started, I received tons of comments and tons of messages from people saying, do a video about your thoughts about Instant Influencer, do your thoughts about Instant Influencer, what do you think about it, what do you think about it, all this kind of stuff, right? And I'm like, this is kind of funny that people like want me to make an entire video about one episode of Instant Influencer. And then I was like, well, I don't know why this would be funny because I did an after show for every single one of Shane Dawson's series. Well, the majority of his series, I have done, like the last 3 or 4 series, I have done an after show for every single episode. So it makes total sense, right? But I don't know, having watched the entire series at this point, James just put out the finale today. I will tell you, you're going to want to watch the finale before you hear my video because unlike my BookTube channel where I don't do spoilers, I'm spoiling it over here today. I can't talk about it and not spoil it. That's just how I feel about it. So anyway, I watched the entire thing. So last night, I actually have a very serious video that I was working on. It was about a documentary that I thought had just come out not too long ago, and then I realized it's been out for like a year and a half. So I may make that video, and this may be a 2 for Tuesday. It's about TanaCon. Anyway, but I watched that documentary last night, and I had 20 points of notes. And then I caught up, and I watched episode 2 and episode 3 of Instant Influencer. And then today, I just got done watching Instant Influencer. So let's talk about our thoughts, okay? And I really want to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section below. So I have just a few thoughts about the show, just a few. First of all, I was going to say my one con, okay, about the show. Not that there's any cons on the show, but my one negative about the show is I know that he has a very specific style and a very specific look that maybe he's aiming for and all this kind of stuff. But James Charles literally could probably make the worst look list every week that he ever goes out. I'm like just mesmerized. Sometimes like I was sitting here and I was watching these costumes. I call them costumes, not outfits, because they're just like, I just couldn't, like this one episode I was watching it, and at the very end he has on like this lavender like suit with like, it's very confused. It has like a belt, and there's always belts and all kinds of stuff, you know, but he's got a belt, and then it's got like, what do you call it, a collar on it, and it's kind of like this nylon material, and I was like, I could not for the life of me figure out who it reminded me of. I was like, who does this remind me of? And then I was like, oh, damn it, Janet. Oh, shoot, I lost my fan. I was like, that is Daphne from the Scooby Doo. And the reason I remembered this was because yesterday on my review channel, we unboxed the Bark Box, me and the pups, and it was because the new Scoob movie is coming out, you know, Scooby-Doo, the new Scoob movie is coming out, and Daphne and Scooby Doo, she always wears like this purple outfit, do you know what I'm talking about? And I was like, that's exactly what this looks like. But I just am sometimes like, hey, wear what you want to wear. You know, I think that we should all feel comfortable in our own skin to wear what we want to wear. But I'm sometimes kind of like, I look and I'm like, choices. I mean, he literally has his finger on the pulse of trends in the world. And I sometimes just was like looking at what he was wearing, and I was like very confused by some of the choices. But that's like my only con about the whole thing. Other than that, I just thought the show was done really, really well. I will say this, as far as James Charles being somebody that hosts it, he seemed to even get more comfortable with it over time. Like if you watch the first episode and then you watch the last episode, especially the last 2 episodes, like at the beginning, James almost kind of seems a little uncomfortable himself. And then towards the end, like he's laughing and he's like, there's this, when he does the Trixie Mattel, is that the second episode? Maybe this is the second episode. She says this one look looks like Mrs. Claus, like sunburnt Mrs. Claus or windburnt Mrs. Claus. And it's like, he's laughing and seems like he feels very, very comfortable with this whole situation. That kind of is something that unfolds over time. I thought that the way that the show was developed was very similar to RuPaul's Drag Race. It was also very similar to other shows that we see where there's like a mini challenge and a maxi challenge, but that's kind of how RuPaul's Drag Race is. But like I said previously when I made a video about this, I don't care. I don't mind that he used that model for it, you know? He called every mini challenge, he would call it the compact challenge, and then the maxi challenge was the elimination challenge, which I did think. Later, I was kind of like, this is kind of sad that you call it the elimination challenge, and I do think there was only one person that actually, so what he does at the very end is whoever the eliminated person is, he goes in and then he like says, you know, like, I'm so sorry, but you're so talented, but we had to decide that you were evicted from the island today. And then he says, okay, let's sign off together. And they always just look like a deer in the headlights, right? Like kind of like, you just told me that I'm off the show and now I have to be like, hey, bye. And there was only one person, Gabriel, I think his name is Gabriel James, and he like really took the moment, like at the very, he was like, bye, you know, all this kind of stuff. But other than that, they all seemed like, I can't imagine, like the second that you find out that you're off the show, that you have to like sign off with James Charles. The challenges I thought were really, really thought out. My favorite episode, I have to say, was the collab challenges. So they did, I think that was the 3rd episode. They did an episode where they did collabs, and they like, Bretman Rock was on there. I'm trying to think of who else was on there. Bretman Rock, Nikita Dragon, Nima Tang, oh shoot, who else? Louis Castro, was that it? 4? Yeah, I think there was only 4 by that point. Am I forgetting somebody? I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. But that was it. And, you know, and they did like a really wonderful job. And then Lipstick Nick was the judge for that show. He had a lot of people on there. The final episode had Mario, Kim Kardashian's, you know, makeup designer, and who I thought, like, this is the one thing I will say, is I thought, because this was a YouTube show, you know, like when you watch Project Runway, you know, and Nina Garcia's like, it's not editorial. I didn't think that they would get like real rude about stuff, right? And they weren't rude about it. They were really nice. Actually, Norvina probably gave the best critiques, and I felt like she was very, very direct, but at the same time, I felt like she was really honest about what she was saying. And you could also see her like depth of makeup artistry, because she would offer suggestions. Like this one, there was, I can't remember, there was a drag episode, and Ashley, who ends up winning the whole entire show, congratulations, Ashley, which I think she should. And this was probably one of the very first reality shows I've watched in a very long time, where I felt like the winner that won was the winner that should win, you know? And although the last episode, they all did a phenomenal job. I thought the artistry of the people that were picked to be on the show was fantastic. I think it's got to be hard in picking these, so this is what I was going to say, was Norvina said to her, you know, like, your eyes are kind of not popping out, but your lips are, and if you had done, like, pink crystals on your, and James was like, yes, and it was like, and she gave really good critiques and really good suggestions on what you could do. So it was a great show as far as not just telling you, like, okay, this was a bad look, but as far as, like, what you could have done to take this look and take it to the next level. I also loved that behind every makeup look, they wanted there to be some kind of story. And they really wanted them to develop as people. And you could see over time, the winner, Ashley, she really kind of opened up. And I cannot believe that the Cardinal just came and laid on. It is back, you guys. I get so excited. I know, I'm not going to turn it around today, but the Cardinal is eating off of my scroll table right now. But anyway, I'm obsessed with the scroll table that I have. Here, I'm going to show you. Hold on a second. Do you guys see? I have to show it. This is the highlight of my day, by the way. Look at that. No finer editing in the world, right? Except for that, oh my God! So anyway, I don't know what I was gonna say, but over time you get to see like all of them really kind of like open up. I have to say, when the show started, I thought that Benny was gonna win. So, Benny is this like 18-year-old kid, and he's from Pennsylvania, and you could tell that he just was enamored with James Charles. And James Charles said from the very beginning that he like was one of his favorites. He said something in there at the first episode, like he's my favorite look or something like that. And you could kind of tell that James was a little easier on him throughout the episodes. But, you know, you could see Ashley really grow into herself. They were all so good. I mean, they really were. And I was thinking, you know, it was interesting to me because it would be really easy. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are makeup influencers that submitted their, like, tapes or whatever they had to do to audition, that were probably like, I don't know why I didn't get picked. Like, my looks are like much better than some of these people. Because I will say this, there was a certain amount of, now this is just from somebody that's been looking at makeup and makeup tutorials and, you know, Instagram influencers and YouTube influencers for the last 3.5 years. But there was a certain amount of amateurishness to it, or greenness to a lot of these people's looks. And especially like kind of like their time management and putting it all together and things like that. I think what really made the show work, and I hope that I have to say, I would have watched it if it was 8 or 10 episodes. I think it's a show that could easily be on like mainstream television. I really, really do. I thought it was that good. You know, all of these shows on YouTube always get like, you know, oh, this is good, like, you know, Tana with MTV, and this is going to be the best reality show and all this kind of stuff. And and I've seen these shows, the Escape the Nights and all this kind of stuff, and they're great. They really are. But they really seem like a YouTube show. This is the first show I've watched on YouTube. Other than the Most Popular Girls in High School, which is one of my favorite YouTube channels ever. This really seemed like a show that you would see on like regular TV. You know what I mean? Like a reality show challenge. So I was just like super, super impressed with it. I know I'm like all over the place talking about it. What did I want to say? Oh, this is what I was going to say is I think it would be difficult to pick the contestants for the show, because you wouldn't want to have somebody that was like, had been doing it for like 10 years and was up here, and then somebody else that was like just eat out. Like, we see that a lot on like RuPaul's Drag Race, and we see that a lot on, you know, Project Runway even, where like I remember Sam Donovan a couple years, is that his name? Sam Donovan, I think, on Project Runway, that did like the pantsuits and stuff. Fantastic. And he was like straight out out of like FIT, I think, right? And then he was like on the same, you know, cast as people that had been there. I don't know, maybe it would have been more interesting if we had seen that. Maybe it would have been more interesting if we had seen like, you know, like, because there was like all this joking about Thomas Halbert possibly being on the show. I think it would have been, or maybe, I think he like applied or something. It would have been maybe interesting if we would have seen like a Thomas Halbert. But you know, Thomas Halbert already is an influencer. But if we had seen somebody that had been doing this for 10 years and had like 100 or 200,000, you know, followers on Instagram, and then somebody that had like 500, that would have maybe been interesting to see. But I think James going into this was probably like, we don't want to, you know, like stack the competition against somebody, so that's not really fair. It did seem to me like the contestants across the board had pretty similar, I wouldn't say exactly the same talents. I mean, right from the get-go, you could tell that Ashley had a lot of talent. They all were so talented. They all were so incredibly talented. But right from the get-go, you could kind of tell that she was a little bit more mature. She kind of got it a little bit more. And I think that really came out on the collab challenge when she sat down with Nikita Dragon and she said, okay, we're gonna like we're gonna take off our makeup, and then like, I want to talk about like having had a child when I was in high school and ask you some personal questions. It was phenomenal. It was really cool. It was done really, really well. And I also loved in that episode, I have to say, that the influencers that came on to help didn't necessarily, they didn't necessarily try to like tell the other person what to do. Like, this is what you should do on your channel. They just kind of let them do it. I loved that. I will say, I think that that challenge hurt Benny because you could tell Benny was like I said, he was enamored of James Charles. He's very enamored of Bretman Rock. And I think like in that episode, like you could just tell that he like so kind of wanted to be him in that moment. But I mean, when you're sitting, you know, with your idol or somebody that you've looked up to for so long, I would think like in that moment, that would be so hard anyway. I thought the whole show was just very wholesome, very well done. I thought it was something new right now. You know, in the time of beauty influencer, whatever stuff that's going on there, and we like get bored with the tutorials, and we get bored with the reviews, and we get bored with the new products. I thought it was kind of a new spin on that, and I really liked that he did that. The only thing I have to say is, there's been a lot of discussion about the issue with the apology, right? So there was an episode where at the beginning, and it was just a compact challenge, it was the mini challenge, James comes out, and I really do think that he did it just to get people to watch the show, because it's literally such a short part of the whole show. But he said something to the effect of, like, the challenge is having to, like, basically fake an apology, do an apology, and, so he goes, and he does this whole thing where he's like, he does like a fake apology, like he acts like he's really mad at them, and then he like kind of bows, and he's like, you know, like, and they're like, oh, he should win an Oscar and all this kind of stuff. And he said, you know, like at certain points in your career, you're gonna have to make an apology for something. But basically what he's saying is, turn on the tears, okay? And as we know, like James with a lot of his apology videos or apologies, right? Like he turns on the tears, but there's no real tears. I don't know, like, I didn't really like the message, and maybe that's just because I'm coming from the point of view of being a drama channel, but I didn't like the message. He then went and gave them each a compact, and inside was like a scandal that they had been part of, which they were kind of difficult scandals. They were like clickbaiting a title, which that's not like really a scandal that you would, you know, have to make an apology video for. I thought if he was going to do it, he should have really gone out there, and I thought, actually, it would have been interesting if he would have picked scandals that he had been involved himself. But of course he's not going to put himself in the middle of the share circle, is he? So, but they were, and you know, they did a really good job, but like, this one kid, the Gabriel kid, he said that like he couldn't show up to this event because of a family emergency, and I was like, and that was one of James's favorites, and I was like, okay, so you just faked a family, I mean, I know it's a TV show, right? But you like just faked a family emergency to not show up to an event, which, I mean, okay, fine, but like, I would never put something like that out there into the universe, I'm just saying. But you know, like, I thought the message would be, like, James is like, okay, now you guys know how to make apologies. You know, I thought if he would have come out and said something more about that whole, like, apology thing and said, you know, like, hey, listen, and there's gonna be situations that come up, and you're gonna wanna sit down with your PR people, which he didn't say, you know, and instead of just like taking a camera over into the corner and filming it, you know, and you're going to want to sit down and you're going to want to say to yourself, like, what do I really, you know, think about this, and like, what have I learned? And if he had said, you know, maybe not coming out the day of and making an apology, but maybe sitting on it, you know, for a couple days and really thinking through like the apology and what do I need to change and whatever, and doing like a sincere, genuine apology. But that was not the message that was sent. The message that was sent was just make the apology to save your career. And I don't know that I necessarily liked that, but that was like one of my only criticisms of the show. Other than that, I just was kind of like, the show was good. I thought it was enjoyable. I would continue to watch it. I hope he does more seasons of it. I think you know, it's interesting to see. We don't know. This is the one thing about the show, right? Like any reality challenge show, we don't know the contestants necessarily, right? Unless you followed them before. So to see the looks they do and all that kind of stuff is really, really fun, because basically you're seeing 6 to 5 to 4 to 3 different looks you've never seen before on the show. Oh, this was the one thing I want to say, is at the end of the show, he always says, if you liked any of the looks created in this episode, tag me and tag the show, and I might share some of them. And I was like, why wouldn't you have them also tag the creator? Like, if you're trying to build these people up as influencers, like, that would have been a really good opportunity. Like, if you liked, you know, Benny's rabbit look that he did at the end, you know, or if you liked Ashley's avatar look and you tagged them in that, then that would have gotten people to use the hashtags and use their social media thing, and then people would be going to their Instagrams and liking their pictures and following them because they would have been hashtagging them because they would have to like look it up, you know. And I thought that's kind of a missed opportunity, and that's where I was kind of like, is this really for helping these people build them up, or is this really for James? Like, I don't know, you know, at the end of the day. But I do love the show. I love the concept of it, and I hope he continues it. I hope it does well enough. The views on it are great. He's getting like 10+ million views each episode. So congratulations, James. Congratulations to all the contestants. I thought they all did a fantastic job, and yeah, that's what I think. So I might be back for a 2 for Tuesday or 2 for Friday. We'll have to see. Anyway, I love you guys, and I will see you later. Bye.